Hello, how are you? I have another mind map here because apparently this is the only way that I can think and organize my thoughts, and we gotta work with what we have. So my brain is a little like a mashed potato still. Since 2020 I can't really think very clearly, so mind maps really help me in that process of trying to make content and things and not being able to organize or plan what I want to do. So this is another kind of random video because that's the only way that I know how to do things. This channel is probably the most random thing on YouTube, and people don't like that. YouTube doesn't like that. I know it doesn't, because YouTube is refusing to showing my videos to other people, to more people, to a bigger audience, and I'm struggling with this channel. So please subscribe and hit the like button and share and leave a comment so YouTube thinks that this video is a little bit relevant. Let's trick YouTube together. Wow, that was a lot. There were a lot of words. So in this video, I would like to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot actually, but in this process of knowing myself a little better and understanding a little bit more how my brain works, and a lot of things being, a relief, I need to discover who I am. And it's not going back to the self, it's not going back, it's not back anything, it's not rediscovering myself, it's not, it's not retrieving anything, because I guess I never knew who I was. I don't know what is the authentic version of me. I will be talking more about this in future videos, not just yet. But then when I thought, I have to jump into myself actually and really try to understand who I am and figure out what is my authentic self and what, is actually me, my essence, my being, my real self, and not just, a lot of masks that I wear and other stuff, trauma and whatever, pressure from society and a lot of stuff that just piles up. And in that process of, I need to, take all of these things out and figure out what is me and who I am, there's a key element to it that I think I need to recover first. And maybe that would be the word for this thing, recover, because I think it was taken from me, and that word is self-esteem. I guess in order for me to be brave enough to face the real me and who I really am, without all of the masks, without all of the mud, without all of the things that keep piling up. In order to be brave to do that, I need to know that I will like what I find, and even if I don't like it, it's gonna be okay, because I have high self-esteem. I have enough self-esteem, and I look at myself with kindness and understanding. I don't want to be judgy towards myself. I have been doing that my whole life. I'm not going anywhere if I keep judging myself the way I was. I was very critical and always finding the worst stuff and always focusing on the flaws and the bad things, or at least things that I thought were bad. A specific level of self-esteem can really completely change and save your life. If you don't have self-esteem, you probably don't have a lot of self-worth either. If your self-esteem is low, then your self-worth is probably low too. So I want to talk a little bit about self-esteem. This was a big introduction. I'm sorry. But I want to talk about self-esteem because I've been thinking about it. I understand self-esteem as some sort of feedback. And like we have, even if it's not conscious, we have like an opinion of some sort about ourselves because it's like a feedback. You can't not have self-esteem, or you can have high self-esteem or you can have low self-esteem, but it's there. So I've been wanting to make a video about self-esteem like since forever, and maybe this is not the video that I wanted to make, but this is something that came back to my mind, and then I thought, okay, if I don't do this video right now, I may never do it. So let's get started, and I'm going to say the word self-esteem a lot in this video, a lot. So this is my only disclaimer. No, probably should have more disclaimers, but I don't know. This I don't know. All right. So I wanted to start talking about the self-esteem as knowing yourself in order to just peel off all of these layers and look at what's left and find who really is me. I need to be prepared to accept that. Even if I don't like it, I have to accept that, and I can only accept that authentic me. Right? Authentic, my being, who I really am. I need to have some level of self-esteem, otherwise I could, find it horrible and be even more depressed. The self-esteem that I'm talking about would bring kindness, and I would be able to look at myself and say, hey, and just, it is what it is. That's who you are, and nice to finally meet you. Instead of just pointing fingers and looking at all the flaws and the ugly stuff and just, putting on a spotlight. So that's what I have been doing, even when, I'm looking at myself and seeing a bunch of other stuff. I don't know what is me and what is, something else, but I've been judgy and I've been critical and I've been pointing all the flaws. And I can't do that anymore. I'm done doing that. I wish I could talk about it more openly, but I guess we're gonna have to wait a little bit. I believe that self-esteem, when we talk about it, it could be, looked at in a individual way or in a collective way. And I'm gonna talk about the collective first. That is pretty much like when groups of people work together to build some sort of confidence on that group and like build this pride of being part of that group. So race, sexual orientation, gender. One thing that I wanted to point out in this one is class struggle. When we talk about like the collective and self-esteem, I instantly remember people who are actually poor and defend billionaires on the internet. I think like the class struggle is part of why we don't really have a lot of high self-esteem as a collective, because the way the society works in I'm gonna say the word, in a capitalist way of production of economy. The way that it works is that, the working class doesn't really have a lot of self-esteem, right? Because if they had higher self-esteem, if they understood the power that they have, they would demand more. And the workers would probably demand to receive what they produce, what they make, what they, actually make with their hands and their time and their work and their effort and their energy. And they're not getting that. They're getting a tiny percentage, and everything else is going to one or a couple of people. The idea is to keep us, the working class, not knowing that we're worth what we are making and contributing to the world. For example, a person who manufactures an iPhone can't afford an iPhone, so they don't really have access to what they are producing. So I think like when we think about self-esteem in a class struggle lens, we are talking about power. When we have the self-esteem to actually fight for it, we're gonna fight against those in power, and there's gonna be a revolution, and things are gonna be different. So in a collective way of thinking, self-esteem can be very powerful and very revolutionary, and I love that. And the individual level of self-esteem is not less important. I see it as being just as important. So a lot of things that we hear about when we're, discussing self-esteem and maybe even self-improvement and all these words, this self-help words, I only see things in an individual level. Not only, but like mostly it's an individual level, and it's like how you can improve your life and how you can do this for yourself. And like I just said, it is important. It's not, you're not gonna do anything if you're hurting, if you're in pain, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're not well. You have to be well. But like I said, it's just as important as the collective. So in an individual level, having good self-esteem could help you have more healthy relationships, and that includes everyone. That includes how you relate to people, how you relate to people at work, to your friends, to your family, to yourself, to strangers, to how you create your content online, to everything. I don't think it's ever too much. I don't think when you have too much confidence, you get cocky or you get arrogant or whatever. Because I think the arrogance comes from a place of fear, of losing something, like a sense of lack and a sense of competition. That's the word. A sense of competition. While when you are actually confident, you don't need to compete because you know that, everyone is just fine. And you're fine too, and it's fine. Yeah, let's be great together instead of like, I have to be better than you. And when you're arrogant, I think that's a reaction to some kind of fear and actually low self-esteem and low confidence. But you're acting like you're better because you're in that competition mindset. We as individuals, when we have a good level of self-esteem, we get to a healthier place. We have more confidence, and we have, better relationships with other people and with ourselves. It kind of reflects. I know that when I'm not feeling very confident and I'm very insecure, I completely project it. I project into other people all of my fears and insecurities, and it sucks. It's awful. It makes me very mean. Yeah, and it's also, good for your mental health. It's just like one of the things that we need in order to be healthy. I want to make this hypnosis recording all about self-esteem in these contexts, because again, I don't want us to focus too much on the individual level of it and forget about the collective. And I really want to keep things balanced because they complement each other and they elevate each other. I'm kind of waiting for the revolution to happen, and it's like a dialogue between our environment and our inner state and the things that happens to us and how we react to them, and the things that we do when we're reacting to them bring us other stuff as consequence of that, and then we react again, and then there's consequence of that, and there's a bigger picture there. We are inserted in that bigger picture, and that's just what we can actually make some difference, and then there's the whole thing. As one person, we can make this tiny difference, but then there's this whole planet that we are just immersed in, and everything matters. All of these elements, they work together in conjunction and they matter. A lot of what I see doesn't really take into account the whole material reality of things. And my reality is different than yours, and that is different than who watches this video tomorrow. But we're still kind of inserted in a similar society, and in these very individualized solutions that I have seen a lot of them, because I used to like these, self-help and all the law of attraction stuff. I have a real problem with it now. Like I said, the individual level of it is important, but we cannot ignore everything else because we don't live in a vacuum. There's a lot of stuff happening at the same time, and we don't have access to everything we want in order to make something happen. Everything has to be taken into account. If you're a racialized person that is, also disabled, and you're LGBTQ, it only gets harder and harder and harder for things to, work out. And in this idea, in this concept of self-esteem, it's the same thing. The individual, the collective, they have to work together. I'm trying to figure out how to do that in a hypnosis recording. Yeah, I'm changing everything, and I'm changing. I am changing. So all the things that I do have to change too. And it's always like that. I'm kind of tired of it, actually. I wish that I could, just do one thing and be happy with that and get really good at it and be successful at it, and then don't have to keep changing all the time. But I have to keep changing all the time. I have to. It's not that I'm changing because I decided to change. I'm changing because I've been forced to change. I've been forced to understand myself and understand what I'm going through and understand everything that is happening to me in order to get out of it. I thought that I would be able to go back to before. I thought I was like, I just, this is gonna pass and it's all gonna go back to what it was before, but that can't happen. I'm not the same person. Nothing is the same anymore. I can't go back. If I go back, I'm gonna literally taking steps back, and that's not gonna be helpful at all. I need to take everything that I learned and everything that I discovered about myself and everything that I'm still yet to discover and become a new person that is functional in this new environment. It's difficult. Yeah. This is a very chaotic video. I feel like I talked a lot and didn't say anything. So I hope I can make out something while I'm editing, because otherwise this is just a waste of my time and yours. I'm so sorry. But if you happen to like it, or, kind of got what I wanted to say and what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to express, thank you. Really, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me until the end of this video. And, let me know what you think. And if you're able to organize my thoughts better than me, please write them in the comments, because I really need it. So I hope I'll be back soon with hypnosis, and I hope I'll be back to talk a little bit more about the things that are happening and the things that I'm going through. Okay. That's enough. Like this video if you enjoyed watch me blah blah blah, and subscribe if you like this kind of weird content. And you know, I'm still trying to figure out this channel, so this is so difficult. Okay, bye. Now it's probably awful.